Nitish Kumar crosses the line.
No, sir, Praveen.
Pulls woman's hijab during event.
No, sir, Praveen.
Opposition slams CM Nitish.
No, sir, Praveen.
Questions over conduct in power.
No, sir, Praveen.
Dignity, consent, accountability.
Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I am Preeti Choudhury. The visuals that you saw has left everyone shocked. There's only one excuse for what happened yesterday, where Nitish Kumar practically pulled the veil of a young doctor. And that is that there's ill health involved. Because if there is anything else, then Nitish Kumar has to come out and issue a public apology, because the Chief Minister of Bihar clearly crossed a line, a big fat red line when it comes to personal space, dignity. That's our debate number one. We're also going to be discussing later on during the course of the show on what the mess was created in 3 states where Messi's visit was concerned. All of that coming up. Allow me to take you through the latest news break that is coming in with what we'd witnessed in Goa. The Luthra brothers are en route to Patiala House Court. They were arrested, they were brought back from Thailand, and now anytime will be produced before the duty magistrate at the Patiala House Court. The Delhi Police Crime Branch is assisting the Goa police. All of this at the back of how the brothers had fled the night after the incident had taken place at their own restaurant and club in Goa, had fled to Thailand. They were then deported back, and now they're being taken to Patiala House Court, where they will be produced before the duty magistrate. They've both applied for bail already. I want to cut across to my colleague Shivani, who's joining us live. Shivani, what more can you add?
Preeti, I'm right now outside the Patiala House Court, where the police has made arrangements, security arrangements. The barriers have been placed out here. And what we are being told by the sources that the Luthra brothers, who landed at Delhi airport exactly on the 10th day of this whole incident, were now taken to the Dwarka hospital for a medical checkup. And after that medical, they are en route to Patiala House Court, where they will be produced before the duty magistrate, and the lawyers from all the 3 parties, the Delhi police, the Goa police and the Luthra brothers lawyers will be present there. And Goa police would be seeking a transit remand so that they can be taken to Goa for further investigations and trials. So now we are waiting for this Luthra brother duo to be here. You can see what is the arrangement out here like. The police is here, extra force has been deployed. There are police barriers which are placed out here. So anytime they will be now reaching the Patiala House Court, where the action will proceed further, where the lawyers will be seeking, the Goa police lawyers, in fact, they will be seeking the trial remand so that the Luthra brothers can be taken to Goa as soon as possible. Preeti.
Shivani, in all of this, both the brothers had already preempted and applied for bail. What's the status on that? Are they going to be under arrest? What is the latest on that?
Preeti, certainly looking at the sections under which the FIRs have been lodged, they want interim bail, but they will be certainly denied because the lawyers of the Goa police, they have solid reasons. They have all the reasons why they should be given the police custody, why they should be taken into remand, because the investigations have to be completed. Both these brothers, they fled actually at the time of rescue, when there was fire on their property, when people were dying. They just fled the area. They did not inform the police, and they were absconding until the Interpol arrested them, detained them, and they were brought here after the due process. So now they are here, and the investigation is to be done further. So certainly the Goa police has all the reasons why they should not be granted interim bail. There are questions that need to be asked, investigations made, and for that reason there are chances that they will be taken into custody. They will be granted that transit remand to the Goa police, and then they will be taken further for investigation, where they will be facing the trial for the serious charges against them, because they not only flouted the laws, but they also fled the incident site right in the middle of the night when people were dying out there.
Shivani, thank you for joining us. We're going to continue to come to you. My colleague Shivani is reporting right now from the Patiala House Court, where both the Luthra brothers have been taken and will be produced in front of the duty magistrate. We'll keep you updated on what is decided there. But with that, I want to quickly move on to our debate number one, viewers. One video has gone viral in the last 24 hours, and that video is despicable. It shows the Chief Minister of a state, in this case the Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, publicly pulled down the veil, it seems forcibly at that as well, of a young doctor who he was giving an appointment letter to in an Ayush doctor's event in Patna. Apparently the Chief Minister asked her to remove it, which she didn't, and he pulled it down himself. There is only one question that remains to be asked. Nitish Kumar needs to come out, and will he make a public apology? Because this, like we said earlier, is crossing that proverbial line of everything where public decency comes into question. Personal space, decorum, and this comes from somebody who's the Chief Minister of a state.
Bihar's Chief Minister has crossed the line. The basic line of personal space. The line of public decorum. And the line of respecting choice. Where you may disagree with something, but respect someone's choice nonetheless. So here's what really happened. A visual of the Bihar Chief Minister first gesticulating towards the veil of a woman doctor, then reaching forward and pulling the hijab down has gone viral. The action seems to have caught even onlookers off guard, with Deputy CM Samra Choudhury seemingly reaching out to stop it. These images from an official event in Patna have sparked widespread outrage, shock, and have spurred a debate on the right to dignity. All with a heavy dose of political backlash.
ये बिहार किस स्थिति में है, किस तरह से चल रहा है, हमारे माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी की क्या हालत है, इससे दिख रहा है ये महिलाओं का अपमान है। एक और 10,000 रुपया दे रहे हैं, दूसरी ओर सार्वजनिक मंचों से मुस्लिम महिलाओं का अपमान हो रहा है। आखिर ये क्या हो रहा है? आप
किसी भी महिला, किसी धर्म, किसी जाति की महिला के बॉडी को टच नहीं कर सकते और पब्लिक ही उससे बिना पूछे। नीतीश कुमार जी भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज्वाइन करने के बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो लीडर्स जिस तरह से एक्ट कर रहे हैं, उनको भी वही वाला रोग लग गया है।
In contrast, the ruling JDU defended Nitish Kumar, dismissing the criticism as politically motivated.
हमारे प्रोफेट मोहम्मद साहब की ख्वाहिश है, उनकी ख्वाहिश थी कि बेटियों को अच्छी तालीम और तरबियत, एक अच्छी जिंदगी सुनिश्चित करना। तो उनकी ख्वाहिशों को अगर किसी ने भी पूरा किया है ना, तो उस शख्स का नाम श्री नीतीश कुमार जी है। और इस विषय पे सवाल कौन उठा रहा है? सवाल राष्ट्रीय जनता दल के लोग, जिनके शासन काल में बेटियों और महिलाओं के साथ किस तरह से दुर्व्यवहार, बदसलूकी की गई और ये मुक्त दर्शक बन करके देखते रहे।
However, this incident has reignited broader discussions about the conduct of public figures, especially those in positions of power. Some argue that Nitish Kumar's intent was not to disrespect, but a sincere attempt to make a young woman understand that she doesn't need to hide behind a veil. But this latest incident goes beyond mere politics, raising questions about respect, consent, and the dignity of women, particularly coming from the highest echelons of power. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, sometimes there is political hypocrisy. At other times, there is also social hypocrisy that lies amongst us. Just imagine if this was a woman who had a ghungat on, and if this was a chief minister of a state that was not an NDA chief minister. What would have been the backlash of that? Why is today the government silent? That takes us to the question that we ask, which really isn't a question. Should Nitish Kumar apologize publicly is the question we ask. Once again, it's a rhetorical question because there is only one answer to this. And that is yes, Nitish Kumar needs to make a public apology, and it needs to come quick and it needs to come fast. I want to cut across right now to Satya Prakash Mishra, JDU leader, Priyanka Bharti, RJD national spokesperson, Saira Shah Halim, women's rights activist. I would like to begin with the JDU spokesperson, Mr. Satya Prakash Mishra. All three of you will get 2 minutes each to put your points forward. Mr. Mishra, today I would think there is only, even being a journalist, being a woman, being a citizen of this country, I will only accept one explanation for what happened, and that is that there is something wrong with the health of the Chief Minister of Bihar. Nothing else can explain somebody who occupies a public office of a Chief Minister do what he has done.
You know, Preeti ji, when you last time saw Nitish Kumar or any other Chief Minister in Bihar offer appointment letter to a Muslim girl, when you last time saw that? He must be credited with one thing: empowerment of women. Something at certain point of time, a fatherly figure, if so a kind of gesture, have a photograph like this, I think there should not be much peep and much reading inside this whole episode. And Nitish Kumar, regarding you talked about health and everything, he is performing well inside the assembly. He is performing well everywhere.
So it's only outside that he's not performing well.
I couldn't get you.
So it's only outside that he's not performing well.
No,
he's
performing
performing
well inside the assembly. He's performing well on the street, road, everything he is investigating. He's appearing in all kind of ceremony.
I'm going to stop your watch and I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to give you more time.
I'm just putting one more line.
I'm going to give you more time.
One more line
Are you Satya Prakash Mishra? You represent the JDU. Are you going to sit here and are you going to justify what you see on your television screen? Are you going to say this is fatherly conduct? Let me also remind you, sir. You're calling it a fatherly conduct. Let me also remind you, in this country, after the age of 18, if a woman chooses,
then it is your judgment.
It's not judgment, sir.
Why you didn't show the picture of Ashok Gehlot? Why you didn't show the video of Ashok Gehlot, who was unveiling a ghungat, unveiling a woman
who's over the age of 18 years of age.
You must show that
who is over the age of 18 years of age. Even her father cannot. Even her father cannot remove her hijab because he feels she should reveal her face. Do I agree with this? I don't agree with covering your face, but she has every right to do so, and nobody in the world, nobody in the world has the right to grab her hijab
You made your point. Let me make my point now.
Stop screaming, sir. You have your point.
I'm not screaming. You are not letting me speak. Then what is that? If you are here to judgment, then okay, go ahead. It is your channel, your camera, your light. You go on. I don't have chance to.
Satya Prakash Mishra.
No, you didn't give me a chance
to complete my point. If you are talking about judgment, yes, we are sitting here in judgment, sir, with what has happened now. Make your point.
You are just delivering a judgment. I suggested it's a fatherly gesture, nothing else. You don't peep much into this whole episode. But you didn't talk about Ashok Gehlot, who was in a public ceremony, unveiled a woman, ki ghungat pratha khatam ho gaya, ghungat utaro. Why don't you show that? I am suggesting only one thing. Nitish Kumar ji, as a fatherly figure, just did that. That's it. He was offering appointment letter, a moment of happiness for the women of Bihar. This is the first time I saw a Muslim woman taking certificate and appointment letter from the Chief Minister himself. That is the empowerment of women of Bihar. Nitish Kumar has done wonder in empowering women in Bihar. He should be credited with that first. Suppose you criticize this, I welcome your criticism. We welcome criticism. We don't mind to being criticized. But at the same point of time, there is nothing much more about this. Simple.
Are you the one who's going to decide whether it's more or not, sir? This dystopian,
I'm not saying what your
dystopian understanding of what empowerment means, Mr. Satya Prakash Mishra, is the point that you are sitting. Either you let me talk or you talk.
No, you talk. You are a very seasoned journalist. I respect you a lot. I have a huge respect for your judgment even. I am ready to being criticized.
It is
You have,
a
we are
dystopian
open
way
to
of
criticism.
defining what empowerment really means. If you're going to come and sit here and say, there is not much to it, this is fatherly. This is not
Fatherly gesture,
fatherly.
that's it.
This is the chief minister of a state who has invaded the public space of a woman. I want to cut across to Priyanka Bharti, RJD national spokesperson. Priyanka Bharti, even though this has become political, and mind you, Mr. Satya Prakash Mishra, when it had happened with Ashok Gehlot, we had ran multiple shows. Should Ghungat be there? No. Should women cover their face? Personally, I don't think so. I don't agree with it. But should they be allowed to do it? Definitely. Because that's what they want to do, whoever chooses to. Priyanka Bharti, one second, sir. Your 2 minutes begin now. It's not the first time it's happened. You had the likes of Ashok Gehlot who've done it earlier. So much ado about nothing. He just meant well is the argument.
Two wrongs cannot make one thing right. And today, Preeti ji, I will speak out of my constitutional duty. It's not just because I have differences, political or ideological differences with Mr. Kumar. It's morality to speak against what happened. This incident is a blot on democracy. In any democratic country, authority must kneel before dignity. Power must kneel before consent and dignity. And this at least he has to understand. We have two scenarios. If the first scenario, if Nitish Kumar ji is not mentally sound, then he does not even deserve to be a representative constitutionally. And on the other hand, if he is mentally sound and he has done so, whatever he did, pulling out the veil of a woman, then actions must be taken against him. And not only this, I mean, just come to the basics. If any leader violates boundaries, even casually, what message is he imparting to the society? What message is he giving to any bureaucrat sitting in the office, to a policeman on the street, to any man in this country? What message is he giving? That you can easily pull the veil of a woman, it doesn't matter. Fatherly gesture hai, it doesn't matter. This kind of attitude cannot be tolerated. Dignity of a woman is non-negotiable, either be in Bihar or be in India or in the world. This he has to understand, and this is not for the first time that it's happening. There have been multiple episodes which we have seen, and making the things even worse. If I don't know, you got the opportunity to hear the video of Sanjay Nishad or not. Sanjay Nishad is saying, आदमी ही तो है, नकाब छू लिया तो क्या हुआ, कहीं और छू दे तो पता नहीं आप लोग क्या कर देते. So this is the sheer audacity of this hyper masculine behavior, this sexism, this misogyny. I don't know what to say more about this incident. This has to be criticized, and Mr. Kumar has to apologize at least to the women community, not only to the women, to the citizens of this country. He has to apologize for his behavior, because you see.
Okay, ma'am, your time is up. I want to bring in Saira Shah Halim, women's rights activist. Saira Shah Halim, you know, the fact is, many would suggest that why be so skittish about this? It had happened earlier, that you had an Ashok Gehlot who tried to pull the veil of a woman, saying that Ghungat Pratha is over. That time, even then, there was a fair amount, and it should have been there, criticism. We ran a show on it, that yes, Ghungat Pratha is over, but having said that, it is invading the personal space of a woman. You
absolutely
go ahead.
So, you know,
your 2 minutes
I just
now.
heard this very emotional talk, you know, by my co-panelists, because let's not get into the emotions of it. Let's talk about law. Straight and final, let's talk about the law. Now, firstly, forcing a woman to remove bodily clothing, right? Something that is very intrinsic to her faith without her consent. Let us be very clear here. That it is prima facie molestation under the Indian law. I cannot think of any other term aside, you know, that it's is considered molestation under the Indian law. And now it is just not about ideology, right wing, left wing, whatever it is IPC, clear and simple. And the moment a man who's in power, and here it's the chief minister at that, right, touches the woman's body or her attire without her consent, okay, here we need to bring in the law, because the law gets triggered. Because here, just because someone happens to be a CM or someone in authority, it does not dilute the crime. Let us be very clear. So it is not about hijab alone. It is about bodily consent, bodily autonomy of a woman. That we need to take very, very seriously. And Article 21 is very clear about that. It guarantees dignity. Okay, Article 21 to every, human being. Article 25 is very clearly states that freedom of religion is a must. Okay, so this act of Mr. Kumar, it violates both simultaneously, and the constitution does not permit public officials to become moral vigilance. Like, why is she wearing the hijab? Why is she wearing a niqab? Let's just pull it off. And he's smirking. The bystanders are smirking, and they're having a good laugh at her expense. I think I've not seen something more horrendous than this in a very, very long time. Because here, let's be clear that the constitution does not come off when a hijab comes off.
I want to give
We
you
need
your
to
last
abide
two
by
minutes each. I want to give you the last two minutes each, and I just want to play the clip because there might be people who are smiling on the side, awkwardly, but, and I'll bring in the spokesperson of the JDU back into this conversation very clearly behind, and let's play that visual. You have the Deputy Chief Minister, and he clearly understands that what the Chief Minister is doing is not correct. And you can see him, let's play that clip because you can see him let's play the clip where we have the Deputy Chief Minister as well, trying to get the Chief Minister to not do this. Mr. Satyapal Mishra, go ahead.
Preeti ji, first of all, the intent of the CM is very pious. It is not to violate the dignity of a woman completely. I understand that dignity of women can never be negotiable. I understand this point, and I understand all law and law related to the violation of any rights of women. But the intention of the Nitish Kumar ji was just very fatherly. Ye kya pehni ho to photo. It was a photographic session because he was giving appointment later, and her face was, with
but
his
sir, the Deputy CM Samrat Chaudhary knows what he's doing is wrong.
That point.
And he lunges ahead for him to stop doing it.
I have seen that visual. You are really open to criticize it, but different perception can be made on that. But it was intention of Nitish Kumar, very pious, like a fatherly figure. Photographic moment was there. Okay, fine, it happened. But peeping too much inside the Nitish Kumar intention was bad, something wrong. This is really out of imagination. Nitish Kumar is a man of principle, dignity, and a probity in political life. You can never match the quality of Nitish Kumar with other people. He has been in political life since 45 long years. And I am personally known to him since 1997. He is a man of dignity and protecting probity of women. So, in a moment, something, actually, she was a doubter figure, like he just showed a gesture. If you want to criticize Nitish Kumar ji on this, you are open to criticize, we don't mind it. But at the same point of time, the Nitish Kumar will be definitely working for empowerment of women and more empowerment to Muslim women. It is the first time I have seen a Muslim woman doctor taking such appointment letter from the Chief Minister of Bihar. So there are so many schemes he has come with. Something happened, you feel it in a distaste. I welcome that, but believe it, it was an intention of a pious fatherly figure, nothing else.
Intention of a piously father figure who didn't, at least in this picture, understand what basic personal boundaries are. Okay, I want to give final 2 minutes to our other two panelists. I think, Priyanka Bharti, final 2 minutes. Your time begins now.
Sure, Preeti ji. He says his intent was very pious. Anyone seeing the video would understand how pious it was. Anyone analyzing the video and analyzing other people around him would understand how pious it was. And he was talking about dignity, the man of dignity Nitish Kumar is. Let me remind you of one statement. In the Vidhan Sabha, he said one of our MLAs who comes from Dalit community, Rekha Paswan, and the words he used was, Mahila ho ji, तुम कुछ जानती हो जी, तुमको तो हम ना बनाए हैं. So this is a word a man uses, a man who thinks that he has the capacity to make a women MLA, and how audacious he is in calling out and saying, Mahila ho tumko kuch aata hai. So this is what Nitish Kumar ko aata hai. He is showing in the video, Nitish Kumar ji ko yahi aata hai. And this is what man of dignity he was talking about. And I would just give let us create an imaginary situation for our JDU spokesperson. Multiple times he called it was a fatherly gesture, daughterly gesture. So can your daughter be at that place, Satish ji, and you would justify it? Just a personal question. I wouldn't have asked it. But since you are justifying this, instead of justification, you should have asked as a citizen who believes in consent of a woman, who believes in dignity of a woman. At least you should have asked this. You should have criticized this. But instead of criticizing, here you are saving him, trying to save him. He cannot be saved from this behavior. Because a consent of any women is non-negotiable. It cannot be negotiated inside this country, outside this country. And I would just say, as a chief minister of Bihar, multiple times he has done activities like today and yesterday also. He breached Article 25 of the Constitution. Who gives anyone independence of what religious activity they profess and how they carry it? So he must be criticized, Preeti ji, and thank you for speaking it out loudly.
Okay. Mr. Mishra wants to come in for 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds, sir, because make your point.
I have seen my vice chancellor patting my class topper in Jamia Millia Islamia. You've done well. I have seen fatherly figure to just praise the
Mr. Mishra, there's a huge difference, no, sir?
No, I understand that.
It's very different than patting somebody at the back and yanking somebody's hijab off.
I'm coming to that point. Definitely, when somebody is in a position to pat the back or praise, different people do it in a different way.
Okay,
that
sir, we can't. No. This cannot be justified. Sarah Shahali, my final 2 minutes.
No, second question. He asked me about my daughter.
Equal time. Sarah Shahali, 2 minutes begin now.
He asked me
Sir,
about
please,
my
2 minutes.
daughter.
No, sir, your time's up. Go ahead.
Let me talk now. I want to tell Mishra one thing very clear. Intent is highly irrelevant now in this case where harm is clearly visible. And the law judges actions, not excuses. So please, let's not make excuses for a completely condemnable act here, because you do not need malicious intent to commit constitution violation. And this I deem as a complete constitution violation. If this act is normalized,
please don't talk over each other.
Any high official can decide what a woman should wear or should not wear. And this is not just governance. This is policing women's bodies. It is taking away, a bodily right, and it's taking away a bodily autonomy from a woman. And I don't see it any other way.
All right. Okay. So that's all the time that we have for now. Thanking all 3 of our guests this evening.
Lionel Messi's much anticipated visit to India, hailed as a celebration of football, has instead unfolded as a story marked by administrative disarray, celebrity indulgence, and environmental disregard. What should have been a monumental sporting event has turned into an uncomfortable reflection of how India views sport. In Kolkata, a city that once prided itself as the Mecca of football in India, Messi's arrival became a cause of frustration rather than celebration. Confusion over event access, VIP culture, chaotic selfie mobs, and last-minute changes meant that many fans were left disappointed and empty-handed. What was meant to be a historic moment for football in India turned into a logistical nightmare, with poor planning, political interference, and utter disregard for crowd control, leaving the city's die-hard football enthusiasts betrayed. In Mumbai, the spotlight shifted away from football altogether. Instead of Messi's skill on the pitch, the focus was on Bollywood celebrities with little to no connection to the sport. Social media exploded with critiques asking why Messi's visit had become more about celebrity optics and exclusive access to the beautiful game itself. In Delhi, nature itself played the role of an uninvited spoiler. Soaring pollution levels and toxic air delayed Messi's arrival, raising alarms over the health of the player and other athletes, to a point that among the Messi chants was some AQI chants directed at the chief minister. All of this for a visit that reportedly cost a staggering 120 crores for just 3 days of footballer spectacle. To put it in perspective, the money spent on Messi's brief tour could have funded 3 full seasons of the Indian Super League, India's premier football competition, at a time when the league is struggling to stay afloat. The ISL remains in a state of limbo. Hundreds of players without contracts, commercial rights going untapped, and India's second-tier I-League failing to attract any serious investment. Sunil Chhetri and Gurpreet Singh Sandhu are being forced to issue desperate public appeals for the survival of Indian football. So as the dust settles on Messi's India visit, a pressing question lingers. Why are we as a nation obsessed with sports stars but unwilling to invest in the sport itself? Bureau Report, India Today.
So the question's quite obvious, isn't it? But we're posing it nonetheless. Is India obsessed with sports stars rather than the love of sports? Let's take this question to our panelists this evening. Joining me in the studio is my colleague Nikhil Nas, Sports Today editor, Dilip Cherian, image guru, Sharda Ugra, senior sports journalist. And I'd like to begin with my colleague Nikhil, who has very strong views on what's happened across 3 cities, 3 states. Nikhil, if Kolkata was a complete administrator mess, you had celebrity craze and selfies where Mumbai was concerned, and of course the chants of AQI resounding for Rekha Gupta and Lionel Messi in Delhi.
Well, I don't know where to start, Preeti. I agree, that VIP culture was on display, and that's something that clearly didn't go down well with the fans that turned up. You talk about the mess in Kolkata. I also heard, politicians and VIPs being booed in Mumbai as well as Delhi. AQI was just one thing. Everyone else who came on the dais was also booed, and that's what I'm saying. It was a clear sort of a display of, the difference between the haves and haves not. But that's not, my real problem with this tour. I think
you have another grouse.
Yes, and that is to do with the sport of football, right? I mean, nothing against Lionel Messi. I'm a huge Lionel Messi fan. I've seen him play live on multiple occasions. Yet I couldn't get myself to be invested in this event. I did not go and cover it as a journalist or even go there as a fan and see Lionel Messi on the field. And I'll tell you why. That's also because I love the sport of football far more than Lionel Messi. Messi exists because of the sport of football and not vice versa. And the current situation in India is probably the worst or the lowest ebb in Indian football. I mean, Indian football has anyway had nothing to write home about in the last 2-3 decades. Yet, this is probably the worst phase of Indian football. And I'll just let our viewers know why I say that. First and foremost, every country in the world has a national league. That's your main competition from where you get players to the international level. This is the first season that we've not had our national league in the last 3 decades since it was started because it's suspended. There are no takers. No one wants to organize the national league. You know what has that done? There are about 300 professional footballers in India that have been rendered jobless. They have no money. You've had stars. We were celebrating Sunil Chhetri, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. They've put out posts a couple of months ago on social media saying that, listen, somebody help us out. We don't even have a national league. We are jobless at the moment. That's one thing. You know how much money was spent on this Lionel Messi tour? Nothing against Lionel Messi. He has nothing to do with Indian football. It's not his job to fix Indian football. But the point is, you have a private entity that brings Messi, estimated figures of bringing Lionel Messi here, operation costs, plus
crores.
Is 120 crores. Do you know, when I said National League is not happening, they're asking, All India Football Federation puts a tender out asking, hello, is there an entity that can buy this tender, organize the National League? The minimum guarantee is 37 crores. Anyone who's ready to cough out 37 crore, you can have one season of the ISL, the Indian Super League. There have been no takers for that. Nobody wants to buy it. You know that 120 crores that a private entity spends, they've recovered that money through what? Through gate money. People paid 12,000 rupees to enter. 10 lakh rupees per selfie, people have paid money. There have been partners, there are sponsors, there are companies that have come on as sponsors. State governments has come on as partners and have paid a lot of money. All of that has ensured that 110 crore can be recovered for 72 hours of Lionel Messi. That much money, you could have had 3 seasons of your National League. Unfortunately, we don't have that. And that's not where it ends. Your national football team is in its worst position. You're ranked 142 in the world, which is your worst ranking in the last decade. You're ranked at 142. Do you know, we keep talking about when will India play the World Cup? Before you reach the World Cup level, you have to play at the Asian level. So the Continental Championship now has 24 teams from Asia that participates. Everyone who knows football knows that Asia is probably the weakest continent in football. India has not made it to the 24 teams at the Asian level. And this is the first time in the last 4 editions that they have not made it. Out of the 4 editions, they made it 3 times. They have not made it this time. And this is the position where Indian football is. My point is, again, not that Messi could have fixed it, but while Indian football goes through a scenario like that, I really can't see the opulence that was on display when Lionel Messi came. And I say that as a Lionel Messi fan.
Well, you know, rarely do I see this amount of passion, which Nikhil actually puts out there, but that's a passionate pitch, Nikhil. And we're going to just clip it and play it out there, you know, for our viewers. But sheepishly, Sharda Ugra, now may I take the same question to you after what Nikhil has said? Because it is truly appalling. A country obsessed with our sports stars, not just ours, even international sports stars, but zero passion for sport. If it's not cricket.
Preeti, I completely agree with what Nikhil has said. I'm just going to clarify your question. It's not that we are not a country that's interested in sport. We are obsessed with stars. Yeah, but the point is that the game of football is not taking place in India. A football league is not happening, not because people don't watch football. Indians watch football in their own way. There are pockets around the country where people watch. If there was an ISL, people would have turned up. I live in Bangalore, where we have where BFC, Bengaluru FC, is widely supported. The problem is of the governance of the game that's happened. At some point, Nikhil will probably know the exact date, they sold the rights of Indian football to a private organization. And now the private organization has bailed out, and now the All India Football Federation is in a jam. And so the problem is not that Indians don't like sport and we only like stars. We like sport and we like stars. But the issue is that the people who are running our sports are incapable. They are politically motivated. They come into this this business with an agenda of making money, of doing their own private sort of promotion and all of that. And it's always turned around and attacked on the fans, saying, oh, the fans love sport. I mean, the Mohan Bagan East Bengal derby will fill a stadium every year. We don't even have to be very high ranked in global football, and Nikhil will agree with me on that, but that derby fills the stadium every time in Calcutta. And so you can't say Indians don't love sport and we only love sport stars. We are given shoddy sports. Our sports are organized, governed very shoddily. And that is why we are in a soup like this. When the stars come, people will pay money and go and watch. That's for sure. But you're not giving. There's nothing else that's left. I mean, Abhinav Bindra's tweet about this was absolutely correct as well. He said you can't build sport through moments. You have to build it through making sport accessible for all. This was a private venture, so people did what they wanted to do. They had tickets at crazy prices, and people paid. And you saw what the celebrities did. I mean, turn the attention on the celebrities that turned up and posed for selfies. You know, political people, film stars, all sports stars. They turned up, and football fans in the country who want to see football, they have no football to watch. I mean, the irony of it could not be more stark than it was over these last 72 hours. It was absolutely absurd.
Mr. Ugra, that's a really nicely nuanced take on it. And you're right, we must correct our question because we're putting the onus on the people where it really shouldn't be. It needs to be on the people who run the sports in our country. But I want to bring in Dilip Charan. He's an image guru. And Dilip, you study optics very closely. And the last, now, of course, 48 hours with what we've seen over the course of the 3 events of Lionel Messi were borderline embarrassing for us as a country. And it started from Kolkata, it carried through to Mumbai, and then it ended in Delhi.
You know, Preeti, I'm going to take a little different approach to this. I think the message for both politicians, sports managers, and for celebrities is that there is today a generation which is not willing to take this kind of, cookie cutter approach to trotting out a star and expecting everyone to genuflect and think that it's a great afternoon or evening out. I think the sports administrators of this country, the political elite of this country, and the film stars must recognize that this is a largely millennial crowd, and this is the kind of crowd that has political impact in other countries. So we should be watching this from the image point of view as a signal to how the masses are responding to feeding them cookie cutter attempts at almost in a Marie Antoinette kind of way, give them cake. So this is really what is going to happen. And we need to understand that this kind of thing is not really acceptable to this generation. And it expresses itself in different ways in different countries. But from an image point of view, I think that what has taken a beating is the fact that India isn't able to organize a high powered tour of this kind by a global star, by a global superstar. And that actually reflects very badly on our ability to actually be a sporting nation of any kind.
You know, I'm going to cut my questions. I have the last 9 minutes, and I'm going to give it to all three of you. Driving the conversation further, Nikhil, your final submission. Go ahead.
Well, a couple of things. We talk about that VIP culture that you mentioned, Preeti, and you spoke about the AQI here. I'll just take you back to, fine, what happened in Kolkata? You had the politician hijack that entire event, as we saw, right? And now you've had a situation where people who came and paid good money never got a chance to watch any of Lionel Messi. You talk about embarrassment. What happened in Hyderabad? Yes, the whole event was organized much better than Kolkata, but it looked like it was a private event of the chief minister. I saw hoardings in Hyderabad being put up of the chief minister alongside Lionel Messi. Clearly, the state government had some sort of stake in this entire event. Then what happens? You see him play football. There are memes, galore on the internet of, him playing football with Lionel Messi, not only embarrassing himself, but just, people around who follow football. But it was a private event. And, all this while, there was no talk about footballers being there. Again, as I say, fine, this was a event that, was looked at commercially. You had to cover the cost. Fine, people get a chance to get their selfies, so on and so forth. In all of this, I go back to Indian football. In all of this, if you're thought of, let's say, somewhere a Lionel Messi coming here and involving the footballers. I spoke about how the apathy that we see towards the football sport and the national team in general. But you have an under-17 boys team in India that's doing reasonably well. You have an under-23 boys team that's done very well overseas in the recent past. You have the women's team, by the way, which I was talking to you about, that the men's team hasn't qualified for the Continental Championship. The women's team has. Nobody even knows that. They have qualified for that. In fact, they have an outside chance, a small chance albeit, but have an outside chance of qualifying for the Women's World Cup, right? Now, here are three teams that are doing well despite the system. I'm sure somebody could have thought of, allowing them a half-hour audience with Lionel Messi, with a translator. I'm not saying he would have played a game of football, but if he spent half an hour speaking to these three teams that I spoke about, maybe something could have come out of this entire exercise. But all we saw was people clicking selfies.
Fair point.
And on that, I agree with most things that Sharda said, but I disagree on that thing that Indian people love sports. They only love sports stars. I'll give you cricketing examples. I oftentimes go and watch Ranji matches. You say cricket is a religion. It is played to empty houses. Big matches. I've gone to see Delhi, Mumbai empty.
Okay.
Virat Kohli turned up for a Ranji Trophy game. Firoz Kotla was packed. Everyone came to see Virat Kohli.
So they come in for the stars.
Nobody wants to see.
Nikhil agrees with my question.
And just one more bit about, I agree. I've seen Mohun Bagan, East Bengal matches. They are sold out. I agree. But look at the state of those clubs. They have no money. They've sold out. They've sold out to corporate entities.
Nikhil, I'd love to give you more time, but I'm running out of time. And you know I would, because you're speaking superbly well. I don't know why I'm moderating this.
Nikhil can have my time. Nikhil is brilliant.
No, Ms. Ubra, go ahead. Nikhil's very passionate this evening. Go ahead. No, come in, ma'am.
Nikhil can take all my time. No, I mean, what we can sort of discuss this whole thing about are we a sport-loving country or not? But exactly, this event shows you that our sport is at the level at which it's organized, presented, and shown to us is always shown from an event point of view, not from the point of view of an athlete, what they are able to do, not from the point of view of sports. India does not organize sports events for sports reasons. They organize sports events for every other reason except sport. We are going to stage the Commonwealth Games for whatever reason. We are going to stage supposedly the Olympic Games for whatever reason. Similarly, Lionel Messi's event was nothing about sport. It was just about people jumping on the bandwagon of getting this great football player to the country and taking photographs alongside him and doing a little bit of, and trying to make money from bringing in genuine football fans to watch the greatest modern, arguably the greatest player of his generation, one of the top two. So this whole thing of sports ke liye, we will create this other ecosystem around it. It's not about sports It's about tamasha. It's about, so just look at the top. When you're trying to understand what's happening in Indian sport, look at the top and who's running it and what their priorities are. I think this event, even though it's a private event, it reflects exactly how Indian sport is run from a top-down manner. And we've seen how shambolic it was. So,
Mr. Sharon, may I come to you? Quick word, sir.
Yes, I think that, the fact that we are able to protest and make a noise about this gives us one of the few occasions to actually vent. And I think that tells us that there is a lot of, in a sense, unexpressed anger about the space that those at the top, at the elite, are able to occupy. And in some senses, the fact that the masses were cheated and were willing to express their anger, whether it was on the subject of AQI, or whether it was poor organization, or whether it was too many celebrities in Mumbai, it didn't matter. The fact is that the vast masses of this country are feeling deprived, and this, to my mind, was an expression of that in various formats in different cities.
But Mr.
Can I
Chairman,
just say
you know,
one thing very quickly?
yeah, of
Can I
course,
just say
come
one
in,
thing?
come in.
Alongside Messi, there were two other players, one of whom is a World Cup winner. And the other, Luis Suarez, who was a great player from Uruguay. But nobody noticed them. No, none of these fancy film star, politician people had any interest in who these guys were. They were incredible athletes, incredible modern footballers, two World Cup winners. But they know there was only Messi, because Messi is like the name that they all know and they're familiar with.
Mr. Chairman, you have 1 more minute and I'll give the final moment to Nikhil.
No, I think that we really need to look at ourselves as to whether these values of whether elites are being played to, or whether we want to be a sporting nation. Because as Sharda said, if we want to host the Olympics, we need to create that sporting mania in this country, and it needs to be nurtured ground up.
Nikhil, you know, your angst is true, but it's also something, it's a bit of a deja vu. We see it over and over again, and then and that's where the angst keeps brewing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Preeti. I pretty much said what I wanted to, but if I can use this opportunity to put my message across as to, everyone who was involved. There were corporates, there were governments. I'll tell you, there was a Times of India report that I've just read. I was talking about the National League. They even approached the government. And at the moment, the central government is very keen to put this image out of India that, we're a sporting country because you're organizing the Commonwealth Games and you are planning to host the Olympic Games. Unfortunately for Indian football, the organizers are told, or the stakeholders are told that, listen, we can't keep bailing you out all the time. Figure out a way to organize the National League. So I hope if all of that money that will be diverted towards Commonwealth Games, which I might add is not a profit-making exercise. You end up losing a lot of money. All that money that will be diverted towards the Olympics, which is again not a profit-making exercise, you'll end up losing a lot of money because eventually you're saying your goal is to push sport. Maybe some of it can be put towards football. So we can have our own Messis. I don't know if we'll have our own Messis, but even if we get 5 other Sunil Chetris or 5 other Gurpreet Sandhus or Baichung Bhutias, I think we'll be in a much better position.
Nikhil, tell me, is it football that's got your heart more than cricket? What's the sport?
No, I love all sport. That's what I want the country to do, right? Love the sport and not sports people. I fell in love with football, cricket, all of those sports because I had access to that. I played all those sports. I fell in love with the sport. Today there's a Messi. He might not be there. Somebody else will turn up. I used to love Roger Federer, but he's gone. Now I enjoy watching Sinner play. Because if you love the sport, you'll continue. If you love sports stars, that'll be very
all right, the passion needs to endure. All right, I appreciate all 3 of you for coming in. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out.